Did you know that nearly $895 million have been donated from 340,000 donors across more than 150 countries to rebuild Notre Dame Cathedral? That's right, the world is united to restore this iconic masterpiece after the devastating fire in 2019. So how close are we to seeing Notre Dame fully restored? What challenges remain, and what can we expect as the 2024 Paris Olympics approaches? Without further ado, let's get started. In April 2019, a catastrophic fire engulfed the 860-year-old Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. It ravaged the wooden roof and toppled the 19th century spire, which is considered a masterpiece of the architect Viollet-le-Duc. The world watched in horror as its most famous church was devoured by flames. French President Emmanuel Macron promised a nation in mourning that Notre Dame would be rebuilt within 5 years, an ambitious timeline, but one which is eminently feasible. With its wooden framework covered in lead, the spire quickly caught fire. As it collapsed, it seriously threatened the stability of the stone arches below. The charred beams and molten lead rained down, jeopardizing the Gothic vaults over the church's nave. For those who witnessed it, the spire's fall was one of the most heartbreaking moments. It symbolized not just the physical destruction of a building, but the loss of a significant piece of French heritage. The fire sparked an international debate on how best to approach the restoration. Some architects and designers called for a modern reimagining of the spire, suggesting innovative new designs. However, by May 2019, French authorities decided to restore the cathedral precisely as it was before the fire, honoring its original design and historical significance. Now, when it comes to funding and support, the public body responsible for Notre Dame's restoration, Rebuilding Notre Dame de Paris, estimated the project would cost $760 million. To date, 340,000 donors from over 150 countries have contributed around $895 million, ensuring the restoration has the necessary resources and expertise. Now, before we dive into the historical significance of Notre Dame and why its reconstruction was so urgently planned, let's look at the restoration's progress so far. 2023 came to a close after the last elements of the spire roof structure had been put in place, and 2024 dawned with an even more exciting milestone in the restoration of Notre Dame. Thus, on January 12th, when the youngest carpenter working on the team stepped up and set a bouquet atop the choir frame of Notre Dame Cathedral, perhaps the moment was beautiful due to the powerful symbolism. In truth, it was far less a resplendent gesture than the capstone of this critical phase of restoration. More than a traditional carpentry oeuvre, this set the milestone capping more than a year's hard work by an immensely dedicated team. The team included forestry experts, pruners, lumberjacks, architects, engineers, carvers, squarers, and carpenters. Together, they meticulously recreated the medieval design of this massive structure. And when we say massive, we mean it. 32 meters long, 14 meters wide, and 10 meters high. But the restoration didn't stop there. With the choir frame done, the team shifted their focus to the nave's roof structure. Fast forward to March 8th, another milestone. The final trusses were installed, and following tradition, a symbolic bouquet was placed atop the nave. Staying faithful to the medieval design, the nave features 57 primary and secondary trusses, each one crafted with precision to match the original specs. For the reconstruction of the roof, 1,400 French oak trees were used, and craftsmen trained in medieval woodworking were called to the site. These artisans, originally working on the Guédelon project, brought their expertise to ensure that medieval building techniques were properly applied, honoring the historical methods used in the cathedral's original construction. The completion of the nave's roof was a monumental achievement, showcasing the team's dedication to preserving Notre Dame's historical integrity. Now, what about the iconic spire that has defined Notre Dame's silhouette for centuries? In early February, Notre Dame Cathedral's restoration reached a significant milestone, completing the spire's covering. It was the instant in which the silhouette of the spire was evident on the line of the Paris skyline, exactly how it was before. And it was possible to have an idea of the splendor a future cathedral would have. Now the work must focus on the dismantling of the scaffolding inside what encased the spire at the top of the structure. Since mid-February, the dismantling of the scaffolding, net by net, started to take place in careful stages so that the top of the spire can once again be seen in its restored state. In a very delicate operation, the process is now allowing Parisians and visitors to observe how the spire's restoration is surfacing from that of its scaffold, step by step. As the dismantling continues, the scaffolding will be removed and moved down to the transept crossing vault. This will expose the lower part of the spire, still in its wooden state, providing a rare and fascinating glimpse into the construction techniques of this historic monument. Once the scaffolding is fully dismantled down to the ground, this phase of the restoration will be complete, paving the way for the next steps. A new, lighter scaffold will be erected with the cathedral's vaults sealed at the transept crossing and the scaffolding completely dismantled. This will facilitate the final touches on the spire, ensuring its protection and stability for generations to come. The new scaffold will allow workers to safely access the spire's base, complete its covering, and add any final decorative elements necessary for its preservation. So why is Notre Dame considered a historical and cultural gem? Attracting nearly 14 million tourists annually, Notre Dame Cathedral is a treasure of French Gothic architecture and is a renowned house of worship in the Christian world. Located on the Île de la Cité, a tiny island in the Seine River in Paris, this architectural gem lies at the heart of French history and culture. It hosts 5 religious services every day and 7 on Sundays, making it not just a tourist attraction, but a living, breathing center of worship and community. Construction of this emblematic cathedral started just shortly before the end of the 12th century and spanned over 2 centuries. Since its creation, the Gothic structure has witnessed and been part of numerous pivotal moments in French history. Of these, the most famous, perhaps, is that in 1804. Napoleon Bonaparte made himself Emperor of France within its hallowed walls. What had been done was not a mere coronation, but actually a statement of power and independence, as he famously took the crown from the hands of the Pope and placed it on his own head. Notre Dame has also stood resilient through the turmoil of 2 world wars. Its gigantic tenor bell famously rang out in 1944 to celebrate the liberation of Paris from Nazi occupation, a sound that echoed hope and freedom through the streets of Paris. Moreover, in 1970, the cathedral hosted the funeral of French war hero and President Charles de Gaulle, a testament to its continued importance in national life. French author Bernard Henry Lévy encapsulated its significance beautifully, describing Notre Dame as the France of the resistance of Europe and literature. It's the Gothic holiness and the softness of the Seine, faith and beauty. So how will this restored icon inspire future generations and influence the architectural world? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates.